Why did Ice Cube betray his most loyal day one, Mack 10? Plenty of people recognize Ice Cube's influence on the rap game, but not many realize that Mack 10 was the guy who made Cube super dangerous. With over 11 million records sold, Mack 10 is actually one of the unsung shooters of the West Coast. And the reason you might not know his name is because the industry went way out of their way to try to bury him. But what's the true story behind Mack 10 going from Ice Cube's ride or die to his biggest op? That's why we're doing a full timeline of Mack 10's career, including all the reasons why he's had other rappers shook. How exactly did Mack become Ice Cube's most feared enforcer? Why did Fat Joe have to beg Mack 10 to spare another rapper's life? And is Mack really the reason why Lil Wayne and Birdman decided to become Bloods? We're even gonna do a deep dive into Cube and Mack's super complicated relationship. How did these guys go from ride or die homies to beefing for over 20 years? And why did Ice Cube accuse Mack 10 of violating him in a way that could never be forgiven? Finally, we're gonna address exactly why Mack 10 had so many other artists terrified and why he's pretty much the most underrated boogeyman of LA hip-hop.
Evacuate the building, look, here come a plane. No, it's the big bad Westside Connection gang.
Mack 10 came up in Inglewood, California at the height of the crack epidemic. As drugs flooded the inner city, South LA experienced a rise in gang conflict. Bloods, Crips, and Pyrus took over the streets, turning cities and neighborhoods across LA County into war zones. This includes places like Compton, Watts, South Central, Long Beach, and Inglewood. The street wars in LA didn't just target gang members, but also devastated communities and innocent civilians in the crossfire. As all this was going on, Mack 10 was growing up in a zone called Queen Street. Queen Street was ruled by Queen Street Bloods who held down Inglewood's west side. And since Mack 10 lived on Queen Street, he was damn near automatically affiliated with the Bloods who ran the area. That meant Mack 10 grew up in gang culture and it had a huge influence on his childhood. But as Mack got a little older, he started building a name for himself as a rapper. His writing skills and buzz soon got the attention of the so-called godfather of gangster rap, Eric Eazy-E Wright.
In the hood, my music was growing. I was in a group called First Amendment. My music was growing. My popularity was growing. The homegirl knew Eric. She introduced us over the phone one day.
While Eazy didn't sign Mack 10 to his label, he paid him cash to write a few records for him. Linking up with Eazy-E, who was the leader of the biggest gangster rap group in the city, NWA, was a major come up for Mack, and it helped set the stage for the rest of his music career. In 1989, Ice Cube cut ties with NWA and went solo. Mack and Cube started kicking it and went on tour together with Cube's new group, the Lynch Mob. And from then on, Cube became super instrumental to making Mack's music career pop off. He put Mack on the soundtrack for his movie Friday and arranged for him to get a record deal with Priority Records, the same label that he was signed to. But that Friday soundtrack led to a lot of issues for Cube. The LA rap group Cypress Hill accused Cube of trying to steal some of their lyrics on the soundtrack. Cypress Hill started dissing Cube, and Mack 10 was put right in the middle of the beef. But making things way more complicated was that everyone from Cypress Hill, like Mack, was blood affiliated.
I remember Cube told me, man, these Cypress Hill niggas is tripping. I said, I thought them was your homie, because they was down. I had never met Be Real, Mug, Sin Dog, nobody from Cypress Hill. And they was blood, but I was with this, so I didn't give a fuck.
When Cube got his chain snatched by Cypress Hill, it took the beef to a whole new level. And the only one who could squash it and put the issues to rest was Mack 10, precisely because he had a Bloods connection to Ice Cube's ops.
Mack 10 calls me, he's a Damu, and so am I. I thought he realized, this is all going nowhere in a hurry. And, chances are some of our people are going to get tangled up and shit's going to happen and really turn serious.
You got to remember that while Cube was renowned for being the voice of NWA, he was not a street dude at all. Before he got fame and fortune, Cube was going to school for architecture in Arizona. Meanwhile, Mack 10's gang ties go all the way back to his childhood. Mack brokering peace during the Cypress Hill beef showed Cube just how valuable it was to have a guy like him on his side. And that wasn't the only one of Ice Cube's beefs that Mack 10 jumped in on.
I mean, it was just an unfortunate situation.
In 1994, Chicago rapper Common made some controversial statements in his song, I Used to Love Her. The song was supposed to be a love letter to hip hop, but Common crossed the line when he basically implied that the West Coast had dumbed down rap culture and low-key ruined the music. And as you might guess, Ice Cube took that very personally, and Mack 10 stepped up to put Cube's response track, Westside Slaughterhouse, on his debut album.
Used to love her, mad cause we pussy whip with no common sense. Hip-hop started in the West.
Mack 10's first album, Mack 10, was a commercial success. It went gold and established Mack as a rising star on the West Coast. But by putting Westside Slaughterhouse on the track list, Mack was letting the world know that he was completely loyal to Ice Cube. And if you had a problem with Cube, Mack would inherit the beef for him. This partnership also set the stage for Ice Cube to team up with Mack and Westmont rapper Dub C to form a brand new LA supergroup called Westside Connection. And by forming Westside Connection, Ice Cube was sending another message. He was now clicked up with Mack 10, who was a Queen Street Blood, and Dub C, who had ties to the 111 neighborhood Crips. And they wasted no time getting back at Common for talking shit about LA rappers. Common dropped a response track called Bitchin' You, where he went at the entire Westside Connection.
What trouble I see, and manage the WC and wax in, you're backed into a four-corner hustler.
But what Common didn't realize is that dissing Mack 10 put his whole life in jeopardy. After Common dropped that diss, he was filming a commercial out on the West Coast and got pressed directly by Mack.
I'm out there by myself in LA. Mack 10 and them was like, man, what you looking at, homie? And he was like, man, I'm from Chicago. We look niggas in their eye. And then, man, from that point, I know Mack 10, homie, went and got they thing.
The only thing that saved Common's life is that Fat Joe from New York was on the set with him, and Joe literally had to beg Mack 10 not to unalive Common.
I literally begged for your life. I literally got in the middle. He's my friend. He's my brother. They finally saw him. And he was on there, saw you, and they was talking crazy. And I was like, this is literally my brother. And I was begging them.
Ice Cube and Common later squashed their beef, but if Mack 10 had it his way, Common really might have not survived that trip to LA.
It was over after that day, right?
It was
correct?
after that day.
Mack's ride or die mentality made him Ice Cube's most important right-hand man. By 1996, the Westside Connection supergroup made their mark on the industry. Their debut album, Bow Down, hit the Billboard charts at #2 and went platinum just a few months after it dropped. Ice Cube was already a megastar with hit records going back to his days with NWA, but by giving his co-sign to Mack 10 and Dub C, Cube was giving both rappers a major platform to come up off of their shared brand. It also gave Mack 10 the momentum to launch his own record label, Who Bangin' Records, and become an industry executive in his own right. Mack kept coming up. He had multiple Billboard hits with Westside Connection and continued to drop album after album. By 2001, Mack even signed a deal with Cash Money Records, which was based out of New Orleans. And what a lot of fans don't realize is that Mack's partnership with Cash Money had a huge influence on not just Birdman, the label CEO, but also its most promising young artist, Lil Wayne. Mack 10's album Banger Ball put the Dirty South and the West under one roof, with Dr. Dre, Wayne, Ice Cube, and Manny Fresh all on the same album. Most importantly, Mack 10 brought his Queen Street blood ties and influence to Louisiana. Before that point, Lil Wayne never publicly claimed affiliation with the Bloods. But after linking up with Mack 10, Wayne started using Blood lingo and rocking red gear in his videos. For a hot minute, Lil Wayne was the most famous Blood in the rap game, and it's all because of Mack 10's influence.
If Lil Wayne and the Hot Boys and them wouldn't have met the homie Mack, if Mack 10 would have went down there and signed on to them, man, put the flame in that shit, man, them dudes would have been great streets. I stand on that.
But besides bringing his Blood influence to Louisiana, Mack 10 was still a major commodity on the West Coast. Westside Connection's second album, Terrorist Threats, dropped in 2003 and was another major success. It sold 146,000 copies in its first week and landed another Billboard hit, Gangsta Nation, on the charts. Mack 10 didn't realize it at the time, but that would be his last album with Westside Connection ever.
And at one point, a rift started with Westside Connection.
Yeah.
You and Ice Cube.
Yeah.
After Terrorist Threats dropped, Mack's relationship with Ice Cube crossed the line and things were never the same. The real reason why Mack 10 and Ice Cube started beefing had to do with family drama. Mack allegedly had issues with Cube's brother-in-law and approached Ice Cube to help settle the beef. Mack basically asked Cube to correct the situation with his wife's brother, but Cube didn't resolve things.
If you go to somebody 5 times before it escalates, then you was trying to be diplomatic about the situation. If it was my wife's brother, I would have told him he can't fuck my money up and he can't be out of line with nobody I'm getting down with. And if you got that big of a problem with him, stay at home.
Things got so heated that Mack's crew allegedly pulled up on Cube's brother-in-law and beat him up. And that's when the situation between Mack 10 and Ice Cube crossed the point of no return. Ice Cube's wife, Kim, reportedly put out the word that Cube and Mack's working relationship was done for good.
Ice Cube's wife was furious, so she told Cube, "No, you ain't making no money, you ain't doing nothing with him." She put the smash down. We ain't messing with Mack 10 no more.
Mack himself said that Kim was a huge part of the falling out and that if she wasn't involved, Westside Connection would still be putting out music. Quote, "We had an argument and I guess it was taken the wrong way because his wife was present. If she wasn't there, we would probably still be doing records. His brother-in-law was disrespectful in a certain way. I don't know what kind of dude he is now, but back then he was disrespectful." The beef between Mack 10 and Cube's brother-in-law destroyed Westside Connection for good. While Cube and Kim reportedly kept Dub C paid, Mack was kicked out of the group and Cube refused to make amends with him. Years later, Ice Cube would try to resurrect Westside Connection and replace Mack 10 with another blood from LA, The Game. You know, red rolls, white ceiling. Cube, Dub C, and Game even linked up for a song called Get Used to It for Ice Cube's 2008 album, Raw Footage. But even though Cube talked behind the scenes about replacing Mack with Game permanently, Westside Connection 2.0 never dropped an official album together. After riding with Ice Cube for over 10 years, Mack clearly feels like his longtime friend handled their falling out in a shady way.
I'm a businessman. It ain't never been me as the holdup, you feel me?
After all these years later, fans are still wondering if there's any chance Cube and Mack can piece it up. In recent interviews, Mack 10 revealed that he hasn't spoken to Cube in over 2 decades. And despite all the money and success they've had, it seems like there's very little chance that Mack and Cube will ever work together again.
I fuck with who fuck with me, you dig? That's where I'm at with it. If you fuck with me, I fuck with you. But if it's fuck me, it's fuck you.
And when you listen to Mack's interviews, you definitely understand where he's coming from. For years, he put himself on the line to ride with Ice Cube. After Cube got his chain snatched by Cypress Hill, Mack was instrumental in deading the beef. When Cube was going at Common, Mack was the only dude who stepped up and actually confronted him. But now, all these years later, Mack says that he gave Cube a chance to resolve things before they got out of hand, only for Cube to ignore him.
I ain't seen him or talked to him in damn near 20 years.
And when Ice Cube got asked the same question in 2010, he allegedly told Hip Hop DX that he'd be open to reuniting with Mack on one condition. I'll never say never, but he has to kiss the ring first. More recently though, Cube slammed the door on any Westside Connection reunion chatter that there was. During an interview, Cube says that while his ties with Dub C go way back, his relationship with Mack 10 could never be fixed.
It's a problem with Mack.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's just a violation that can't be overlooked.
Mack's 2-decade-long beef with Cube definitely marks the end of an era. Mack 10's willingness to get down with Ice Cube's ops only enhanced Cube's reputation in LA. And while they haven't made music together in over 20 years, Westside Connection made a major mark on West Coast hip-hop, lighting up the charts and sending a huge message when it came to pushing gang unity between Crips and Bloods. Mack might not be as famous or relevant as he used to, but his history as Ice Cube's right-hand man and protector made him an icon in LA, and that's exactly why so many people are scared of him.